My method of building tech-dedicated storage floors in ARK Survival Ascended just got better. Thanks to this comment from Quinino5890, I've been able to make some changes and can now build tech-dedicated storage directly into foundations and below ceilings so that they are completely flush using low-cost structures. And in this video, I'm going to show you how. Let's get cracking. Alright Tinkers, I'm Toastbloke and I'm back in ARK Survival Ascended, hanging about beside my original tech dedicated storage floor design. Now I was really happy with this. I thought it was super good, except for one thing. This horrible little gap between the tech dedicated storage and the ceilings, which are acting as the floor. And the reason that I thought I had to do that was due to structure clipping. But I got a comment on my last video from Quinino, I hope I'm saying that right, please forgive us if I'm getting it wrong, explaining that if I put down the tech dedicated storage first and then place the ceilings around, the structure clipping will be ignored. Now I don't know why I didn't think of that, but it's genius, so thank you for the information. It means I can not only improve that build, but put tech dedicated storage directly in foundations. So I'm going to show you both, starting with the foundation build, but either way, they all start off with placing a fence foundation where you want to build. So there we go, that is placed. Now before I go any further, let me quickly show you this. I think it'll be super helpful for those of you who didn't see my original video on this. Just going to get some railings out and pop them beside this wall. And the reason I'm doing that is because this is crucial to the build. You'll notice there are 3 railings to 1 wall's height, making 1 railing 1/3 of a wall's height. And the reason that that is important is if I get out the tech dedicated storage box, just disable snapping, it is exactly the same height as that lower railing. So 1/3 of a wall height is what we need to be the difference between this foundation snap point and the second one that we're going to be making. So let me just quickly pick all of this up except the fence foundation. We need to leave that. There we go, because that is where our little trick, our little method for getting these 2 different snap points starts. Now the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to grab a pillar, pop that in there, grab a ceiling and pop that on top, making sure it's perfectly in line with the fence foundation. Now the reason I'm going to do that is it takes me away from the snap point that's already there, which allows me to find a new snap point for a new pillar without anything getting in the way. So I'm going to run down the 3 railings to create the reference that I just showed you beside the wall and get out the foundation. What I'm going to do, just going to eyeball this, doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to try and get this in position so that it's central to the railings, but also so it's touching the front face of them. And then when I'm happy and that's all parallel, I'm going to click fire once to lock it in position. From there, all you've got to do is adjust the height of this foundation. Don't rotate your character. And just get it so it's the same height as the top of the bottom railing. And I think that looks decent, so I'm going to place that there. Super simple, super quick. You can have a little look and just check, see if that looks about right to you. I think that looks good. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to pick this pillar up. That'll collapse the rest of the structures, and we have our second snap point. Now the only problem here is this and this will be a little bit misaligned. So I'm going to pick this up and we're going to replace it by snapping it to the foundation. I'm going to come out one. You'll notice the arrows are pointing inward towards the foundation. You need them to point away from it, outward, and place that. And the same on this one at the 90-degree angle, arrows facing away. And the reason is if you don't do that, you actually end up with a bit of a gap between this foundation and the one that we're going to snap to this fence foundation, which is a bit of a nightmare. It means everything ends up being misaligned. So make sure you get those arrows right. And once you're done with that, you are set up for either of these 2 builds, the foundation one or the elevated one below a ceiling like I've already done. But that is the perfect difference in height between the 2 snap points. Now we're going to start off with the foundation version like I say, and I am going to use one of these, a pillar, just so I can snap foundations to the fence foundation. And I'm going to build out the floor that I want to make, and I want this to be a 2x3. So there we go, that is my floor. Now this will be trickier to do on a slope, but as long as you're building away and down the slope, everything should be a-okay, so bear that in mind. I'm going to pick this up, I'm going to leave the fence foundation there for now for later, and this is where things are a little bit different. Rather than building the upper floor around from this snap point, I'm going to focus on getting the dedicated storage down. So the way that I want to line this up is get out a ladder. It's the old ARK Survival Evolved line yourself up with structures trick. You just climb up, hop off, pick it up, and then don't rotate your character. Walk forwards, strafe left and right, move backwards. All of those directions are good, just no rotating. And what you want to do is get this perfectly into one of these squares on the foundation because they're the same size as the tech dedicated storage. Now I'm going to jump into orbital cam. You'll call that K mode more than likely if you're on PC like me. I just want to make sure this isn't overlapping the edge of the foundation. I want it perfectly in line there, and the same here. I think that looks good. Then I'm going to come out of K mode because it's a little bit scuffed when you're placing things, and get the first dedicated storage placed. You can have a little check around, make sure it's not overhanging the edges. That looks good to me. And then get out the rest of them, enable snapping, and just get these all put down on top of the foundations. If you're not sure how to enable snapping, there's actually a little icon of the structure you are placing in the center of the lower part of the screen above the hotbar, and the control that you need to use will be indicated beside that. So just look out for that, and then you'll be able to do this no matter what platform you are on. Just get these all carefully placed, and there we have them in position, ready to go. Tech dedicated storage. Now then, there's only one thing left to do on this build. Like I say, it's super simple, super cheap. We're just going to grab our foundations. I'm going to snap these to this higher point and run them around the outside, making sure the crosshair is looking at the higher level foundation, so these all snap correctly and create a floor. Otherwise, you might end up with one that is lower down or half wall up above the dedicated storage, which we don't want. So that's the way you do it. And there we go. That is super tidy and super well lined up. You can see the edges in there are pretty much perfectly in line with our foundations. So that is the first build. That's how you do it. Hopefully that's helpful. What I'm going to do now though is take all this down except this foundation and the fence foundation, so I can show you the next method to recreate an elevated tech dedicated storage floor under a ceiling like I did over there. That's everything taken down except the two different foundation snap points that we created earlier, and we're going to jump on with the second build, which is getting these flush under some ceilings. Now originally I set out to do this as cheap as possible, so I decided to place pillars here and to build the floor on top, and I would have done my 2x3 floor above these pillars and just built around with this, put walls aside and then floors over to match the dedicated storage box's height. But instead of doing this cheap, because you've seen that on the other video, I'll link it below in the description so you can check it out what I actually did, because it still applies just with a different fence height and order. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit stronger this time. So I'm going to mix what I just did for the previous build in with my original build, and I'm going to place the foundations down at the bottom. Now this isn't necessary, you can just use the pillars to support the ceiling above, but basically I want to beef up the support holding up the dedicated storage so that it doesn't collapse easily, which means I've moved this over here and I'm going to put those two pillars in the center of this section instead. Now I can leave those like that, or I can make it even stronger by adding more pillars. It's up to you how many you want under here. The more, the stronger the structure will be. But also, since I've managed to get these foundations down, I can even place walls in here, and these now have support from the foundations. So if the pillars go, the walls will stay standing. If the walls go, the pillars will stay standing. If the foundations go, the walls and pillars will stay standing. So this is a much stronger approach, and of course you can beef this up as much as you want. Let's get rid of this now though, we don't really need this anymore, so I'll just pick that up. But I think we are looking absolutely dandy there. I'm super happy with that. So then, here's what we're going to do next. We are going to put the floor down that the tech dedicated storage are going to be on. And I'm just going to match what I've got below, because like I say, I want a 2x3. I don't know where that one's gone. Has it gone on the other side? Oh, it has done a job in advance for us. So we'll pop that one there and that one there. And we've got our 2x3 floor. Now, unlike the previous version, I'm actually going to run the floor around the outside, because this isn't going to clip with the dedicated storage. So, just going to come around with the foundations, making sure this structure in the middle is completely surrounded with foundations at the higher height. Let's just do that. And then what you can do to make this look a little bit more polished is get ceilings and just stick them in there. Because the lie flush on this game, which is a big improvement, I love that. Used to have to use a trick to be able to do that in the old game, which took forever. So this is real nice, and it's a nice little finish. From there, if we want, we can even put the outer walls down, because these walls are going to be what supports the floor that we stand on above the tech dedicated storage, basically the ceilings. So let's go around here, place all of these, get them in dandy. I'm going to do what I did on my original build as well and place a doorway in, but I'll do a real doorway this time instead of a secret one. And then I will get a door in there just to close it off, gives me access. I'm going to want the stairs in front, so let's grab some of those. And I'm going to want a bit of get on top, so I'll pop some stairs here as well, please game. Lovely, perfect. Now then, I can get up here, I can jump across onto this floor. Now, there is another way you can set these down if you're not as, I guess, OCD as I am. You can pop ceilings in the corner and just align your first dedicated storage box with these two ceilings. That is something you can do. I like to place this perfect though and make sure everything's exactly lined up how I want it. It's a bit galerish that way with the sun, so let's face this way. So I'm going to do the ARK Survival Evolved ladder trick again. Let's jump up, pop off, pick it up, get out the dedicated storage, and just repeat what I did on the floor version, the foundation version. So let's move forward. Let's get this in there, drop into orbital cam, aka K mode, and make sure that this isn't overhanging the edges of the ceilings. And it tucked just inside. Same here at the back, just inside. That looks good to me. So I'm going to come out of K mode and I'm going to place. Beautiful. Now once that's in, it's exactly the same process. Enable your snapping and just pop these in. Make sure you get them right. They're a little bit janky. They will try and stack. They will try and shoot down to the floor below or snap to the middle of a ceiling. Not really what you want, but it's all good. Just take your time, get it right. I mean, there's no problem if you don't, since you can pick structures up in this game, which is another nice addition I absolutely love with the building system. But there we go. We've got the tech dedicated storage placed, and it's well supported below with full metal structures and pretty cheap ones. Now from here it's just a matter of going around with your ceiling around the outside. So let's pop the first one down and get these snapped all the way around the floor. And again, you'll see this is pretty much perfectly placed. Now if it wasn't, that would be on me because I placed it manually, not using the alignment. I don't feel like you get it perfect when you do align it with the ceilings, so I do like this way. But that's pretty tidy, look at that. Pretty nice in every single corner. So I'm super happy with that finish. It just looks great. It looks real nice. Now, because I'm not building this into a workshop or a war room, I'm just going to go around the outside here and pop some railings down, stops me falling off, and just makes this feel a little bit more finished. But this is a standalone build just to show you the method, the technique, and then from there you have creative license. Do what you want. Build this where you want it, how you want it, and in whatever kind of area or system you want it to be in. But that is the polished off, finished structure. That is the tech dedicated storage floor. Now, what you can do is come inside here, and you'll notice we have a lovely room here, and because of the height of this now, you can actually walk under here, albeit the camera goes a little bit dodgy and squashes right up. But you've got plenty of room in here to place other structures you might want or need. And to be fair, you can build these walls further back and put workshops and whatever else you want, beds, things like that in here too, because you can access this outer edge of the tech dedicated storage. What I like to do though, is because I hate the camera doing this, does my nutting, I'm going to get some walls, quarter walls, and I'm just going to place them around the edge here to give this a little bit of a nicer finish. This actually provides a little bit of extra protection to the structures, keeping your tech dedicated storage floor in the air. So I think it's worth doing. Not that I think anybody's going to sneak in underneath and try and destroy your dedicated storage floor from the bottom, but still, a little bit of peace of mind never hurt anyone. At the end of the day though, I think this is way more aesthetically pleasing, and I'm a big fan of that. So you have creative license to do whatever you want. But that's the build over. If you want to take these walls out further and have rooms under here, if you want stairs or a ladder up to the top floor, that is up to you. Go crazy with this. You could even just build out from here and have your war room or workshop built on top. The main thing is I've shown you the method of getting these tech dedicated storage boxes in flush with ceilings and foundations, and that's all I really wanted to show you. So I think I'm going to call that there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this tutorial, if you found it helpful, please remember to like, subscribe and ring the notification bell. Really helps me out, does wonders for the channel, and I'm super grateful for your support. If you'd like to get more involved in the community, check out the links in the description below. You'll find the Discord and the likes there, and it would be lovely to have you. But until next time, you guys take care, and I'll catch you later. Cheerio.